This is a story which I've told before, and I'm going to tell it again. And it's a story about Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa. Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa was a very holy person, and he was a oh, so he was in the time of the temple. He was one of the Tanaim. So Hanina ben Dosa, he did a lot of miracles. One of the miracles that he did is very illustrative to us. Okay, he was a very poor person, Hanina ben Dosa. Was very, very poor. And he subsided on just a very meager, lettuce or something, or cabbage. That's what but he was a very holy, devoted to God, knowledgeable. One day he was walking in somewhere in the desert or someplace, and he saw this beautiful rock, big boulder. And he thought to himself, wouldn't that be nice? This boulder could adorn the gardens or whatever that are before the holy temple. So he didn't think too much about it, and he started polishing it up. He polished it up. It looked really, really impressive, really nice. And he said, okay, now how am I going to get this to the holy temple? He didn't have a wagon, and the thing weighed, let's say, 20 tons. Rocks are really heavy. So he tried to lift the rock up. 20 tons, that's pretty heavy, So he didn't know. So he figured, okay, he'll get some stevedores, some, carriers, and they'll take it to the holy temple. So a bunch of strong, really strong fellows, they passed by, and they said, "Can you take this to the holy temple?" And they said, "Okay, but let's see how heavy it is. Ooh, this is really heavy. You have to pay." He says, "When we get to Jerusalem, I'll pay." He says, "No. You have to pay right now." He says, "I don't have any money, but I'm good for my word. You can ask anybody." They said, "We're not going to ask anybody, and either you bring the money, or who are we going to find? We're going to look around." And they left. Then came another group. They were even bigger and stronger than the first group. And he said, "Excuse me, can you take this to Jerusalem?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." "But you have to help." He said, "Oh, I have to help." So what's that? You want pay? Said, of course we want pay. But you can pay us when we get to Jerusalem. That's what they said. Pay us when you get to Jerusalem. So that's a pretty good deal. So he said, all right. So they all got around this rock. Everyone took a hold, and they said, okay, now you have to help us. He said, me, I can lift up my tefillin in the morning, I can lift my shoes, but I can't lift up a thing like this. I think the Shema is that what is going to, he says, okay, if you don't want to help us, then we're not going to do it. So he said, okay, all right, what do I have to do? He said, put your hand over here. There's an empty place over here. Put your hand there. Okay. Close your eyes. Let's go. It's really heavy. So I have to, ready? 1, 2, 3, lift. I said, that's okay. Okay, that's it. You can put it. Well, they didn't need much help. I guess they decided they don't need help. Opened up his eyes, and they're in Jerusalem. They're in Jerusalem, and the rock is there where he wanted it to be in front of the temple. And he said to them, wait a minute, fellows, just wait right here. I promise you I'll get you money. How much do you want? And they said, $500. So, okay, just wait right here. So he ran to the Beit HaMidrash where everyone was learning. They were all happy to see him. And he went to Rabbi Gamliel. And he said, such and such is the case. Will he give him? He says, sure. He gave him the money. And he ran back, and the men weren't there. So he waited a little while for them to come back, and he called out. And then he started going around asking people, and he went and asked in the stores. Maybe they went to get something to eat. Maybe this. No one had any idea what was going on. After about an hour of this, as he went back to Rabbi Gamliel, he gave him the money back. And he said, I looked around for the people, and they weren't anywhere around. So he said, well, it must be that they were angels. They were angels, and they came to help you. He said, yeah, it must be that they were angels. But why did I have to help? Why did I have to help? He said, because angels, they'll only help if you do something. You have to put in your part. But if you put in your part, then the angels will do the rest. But your input is essential. Even though you can only lift up, 5 pounds, and they can lift up 500 pounds, nevertheless, God helps you only when you help yourself. Well-known saying, God helps those who help themselves. So you have to do your little part. That's relevant to what we learned in Dvar Malchut, that Ani Ladodi Vadodi Li, I have to go to my beloved first. And then afterwards, God answers me. But of course, when I go to God, it's just me. And when God answers, this is God. God is much more powerful than the the stevedores in our story that we had, the angels. So the help that we can get from Hashem is something we could never expect, but we have to start first. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, see everybody tomorrow, God willing, at 8:15 sharp. Thank you for coming. Shalom.
Thank you. Shalom.